So I am back for another instructional video on the levels of ascension that I have been working on since earlier this summer. This will be Ascension level 4 that I'm going into. I'm going to be doing all of them, all 7 levels, and I'm doing one a month. And I'm really excited about this level because it's one of my favorites on the 7 level path of ascension, path of lights, path to unity consciousness. If you didn't see my other videos on this topic, I'm going to go ahead and link them below to kind of catch you up. The path of ascension that I have utilized comes from the methodology of Dr. Joshua David Stone, who is no longer incarnated here on this earth. He really made ascension accessible to us through his large body of work that is an Ascension encyclopedia. And he also has an Ascension University that's no longer in the United States. I think it's functioning in Austria now, but he was just a huge contributor to making such higher bodies of information available to us in ways that we can understand. And as a result of his work and other people's work regarding ascension, now is the kind of the next phase of things in helping the collective grasp planetary ascension and how they can utilize it as they continue on their spiritual awakening journey, and to come more into the understanding of who we are as multidimensional beings, and that we are grounding this heaven on earth consciousness to have the opportunity to not only physically experience it, but to also template the new systemic structures within this consciousness at a 5D frequency to make available for people coming later on down the line. So your ascension, your individual growth on this path is the first step. Ascension level 4, this in my opinion is when it starts to get really, 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 really good on this path, but also it gets uncomfortable. It's probably the point of the most discomfort on the ascension journey. The thing about level 4 is you have to make a conscious choice to move into level 4. With the first 3 levels, you can have moved through the first 3 levels of ascension without even realizing that you did. So most of you watching this video are either at level 3, or perhaps you're already at level 4. Beyond level 4, it starts to kind of get a little bit more rare in terms of those that can actually see level 4 through, and all of the necessary transformation and changes that are being asked of you in order to continue on. And there really is no other way to transcend the lower self and to become a yielded vessel to the greater that you ascribe to and have faith in, unless you move through this level. So this level is a level of surrendering, and it's kind of a level of a major death. And this is not just necessarily ego death. People can have different periods of ego death throughout their spiritual awakening. You will always continue to have those. That's kind of never ending. But this is like the mass showing up to, I am ready to transcend the lower self and be that vessel for the greater to work through me in a way that is aligned with a higher will or a greater will or a divine will, not necessarily my own egoic will. And that's the hardest part about moving into level 4, because the mind absolutely does not want it. These are universal teachings that have been made available to us throughout every major world religion. And sometimes it gets to the point where we don't really have very much regard for ourselves or for anyone else from an authentic place. It's moving out here in this separated state in relationship with everything, including yourself. And level 4 is the gateway by which we're no longer doing that. We have chosen to now unite with this greater essence, God, source, creator, goddess, whatever it is that whoever you work for on a greater level out here, that's up for you to determine. You are joining with that divinity, that creator divinity that never was separate from you, that's always been a part of you and inside of you, and you're choosing to move or walk or live out here in life in tandem with that. So ultimately it's a surrender to your highest self. So in this way is I am choosing to enter into a surrendered divine relationship with the greater that I ascribe to, realizing that the manner in which I have been living in separation, or what is typically termed as sin, but again, not ascribing to the biblical meaning of sin, is not in my highest and best interest. And I'm acknowledging that. And I'm seeing the pain and the hurt that that has caused me in making choices from separation. So I'm choosing to not do that. And I'm making the conscious choice and trust that the greater that I ascribe to can maybe run the show a little bit better than I can and maybe make decisions better than I can based upon the greatest, highest picture or perspective within creation that I don't have an idea of at my level. So I'm surrendered. And then it becomes this literal inner divine partnership where you're working in tandem or in union with the greater that you have faith in and that you work on behalf of. Then you're going through the process of shedding that separated self or that lower self. And it's the lower self that honestly, it becomes really not that hard, even though it seems like it's hard, and it's hard while you're going through it. But it becomes, these are the parts of you that are really hard, that you're struggling with anyway. Really, you're struggling with them anyway. You're tired of them. You've attempted to transcend them multiple times. You even have an inner kind of clear cognizant knowing that the things that you are involved in the state of separation are no good for you. They continue to cause you unnecessary pain and hurt. And we're saying maybe there's a different way to be out here instead of in that. And that's what most term the karmic wheel or the karmic loop, or having to move through kind of the repeated lessons. And that never really goes away. It's just that we just become more conscious and more cognizant, and we can avoid the wheel. We can avoid the mind traps and the karmic traps that are associated from a separated state of being. And we entrust that more in with the greater, and we're operating or functioning with that divine partnership as our foundation for how to walk here. That's the main function of level 4. That's the primary reason for it, is to begin to move into a state of union with the greater. And the primary work is with the mind. And it is a sorting out process of determining what's true in union and what's false in separation. And that's important because it's gotten muddied up. We don't even know the difference between what's real and what's not real, and what's true and what's false. And you have to determine that for you. So many people rely on something outside of them to determine real, false, true, not true. Like, you have to become your own divine authority within that union with your divine partnership to be able to adequately discern. We don't have that skill moving into level 4. We don't have the adequate ability to truly discern clearly from a clear, uninhibited mind. The mind is so it's trying to unwind it's the beginning of the unwinding of all the programming that has taken place over a long period of time, to where you're just functioning based upon what you think and not necessarily what you can know on a greater level. And through that process, physical shifts will most likely happen, and that could be a wide variety of a lot of different things. So the ascension path is unique for every single person, and I am not going to can it or generalize it into it's going to be this. It's going to be whatever the greater you ascribe to has in terms of the plans for how you are to be of best service that you may not be aware of. And there becomes an unraveling, a deconstruction, and it most of the time translates to it's like things are being taken away. And it's things that you are mentally attached to from a place of separation and from a place of control. And the only way that we are going to come truly, like literally walking that talk in terms of faith with that inner union and that divine partnership that we have consciously asked for, the only way that we're going to surrender to that is we can't have the material competing in the way that it is with whatever things need to move and shift. So we're not blocking the divine from coming in and doing what it needs to do through us out here at this time. So it's a big asking, and it's a big deal, because it makes you feel like, oh, I'm giving up my life. And yes, you are giving up your life, but you're giving up your 3D life, and you're giving up your life in separation. And in the higher scheme, or in the higher understanding of what this is, or in the overstanding of this, there is no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong here. We're coming into this space where there's no duality. It's just we're speaking these things and putting out these messages, myself and others that are so immersed in this work right now, because there's literally no better energy to take advantage of it than now. Like now you have so much energetic, astrological, planetary, universal support to make that leap, make that jump. And that jump in divine inner partnership is less burdensome. It's easier. It flows more. You don't have to be in the driver's seat. You can have faith and trust that no matter what's going on in your life, it's always leading you to your highest and best. There's no question about that. So just let the greater do it. Let the greater do it and trust. And you have to ask yourself, am I willing to trade that for, no, I know what's best for me, and let me do it, and let me continue to steer the course or steer the path. And you have to ask yourself, how has that gone for you thus far? And really be honest in terms of every aspect of your life. How has that gone with you in the driver's seat? Are you truly on the deepest heart level within you satisfied with what you have created so far? Now, if the answer is yes, then there's no need to watch this material. There's no need to take this content in. You probably have the wrong channel. But I would most likely bank or bet that if you are taking this information in, that you have had similar experiences to myself where it hasn't gone too well. And that's been for a reason. So a wonderful time to make the decision: separation, union. My way, the way of the greater. Both cannot exist simultaneously together in that's not going to work. That is what the Bible calls serving two masters. You're always going to be in conflict, or you're going to be, your life force or your energy, the way that you're directing your energy, is going to be working in conflict. It's going to be working in opposition of one. One is that they're not compatible. And what's happening now as a result of these shifts in these current energies, as I'm recording this video, is you're most likely having things come up in your life that are showing you this. You are being shown very clearly the ways in which things aren't compatible with the direction inwardly of where you are being asked to go. And until next time, all praise and all love. Bye-bye.